Hello everybody, welcome back to the MinerManDouglas video. Today we'll be getting into how to create a dungeon simulator. We'll be creating custom mobs that are killable using swords, just like this one up here. So as I kill it, it'll die and regenerate. And every single time I kill it, I'll get a rotten flesh. Now the ones we create, we'll be creating custom weapons. And some will even have abilities where if you right click you get something. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Get into making these really cool custom weapons, we can't not talk about Andy the puppy. Now he commented on one of our other videos, on our mining simulator video, and he recommended that we make a dungeon simulator video with killable mobs. And guess what? That's exactly what we're doing today. So comment down below and maybe you'll be featured in the next video. Before we have these mobs, we can't make a mob without weapons. So we're going to create custom weapons. So I want you to go grab yourself a couple weapons. I'm going to grab myself a wood sword, an iron sword, and a diamond sword. Now just for the sake of this video, since it does take a while to set it up, I'm going to have 3 different weapons. But for your house, I highly recommend having at least 5 weapons. So first we're going to make custom weapons in a shop. So I'm going to go over here and make a small little place for a shop. So I created myself a little tent for our shop. Now for our shop, this time we are going to have crates instead of just buying weapons directly. So for crates, we're going to have 3 different crates. Now for this, you need different glass, so you need colors. For example, for the common crate, we're going to have a common, rare, and legendary. So for common, I'm going to do green. So I'm going to grab myself green glass and green stained clay and put it right here. Then once you have the crates themselves, then what you want to do is get an action button item and put the action button right below each one. Then you can either do one of 2 things. You can either add a sign for each one, which if you're compact, you can add a sign right there. Or you can add a hologram on top of it. So for the sake of this, I'm gonna do a hologram. So for this, I'm gonna do common crate. Then right below it, you wanna write a price. Now you should go ahead and plan out and choose your currency. So whatever currency you want, like, for example, mining sims, they have bits and stuff. So for this, we're just going to do bits. And we're just going to do 100 bits. And you can edit the prices later. Now we've added the basic parts of the crates. Now the whole premise around crates is you'll press the button and it'll take you somewhere and you'll get a random weapon. So now it's time to make the weapons. Now just like in the mining simulator video, we're going to have a chest somewhere hidden. That way we can store our weapons. So I'm just going to put it behind here and you can like cover it up or something. In this chest, it's going to have all the weapons. Now each crate should have multiple weapons, so this is where you should start making your weapons. So for your weapons, you want like 2 per crate, so separate them. So make a couple common, couple rare, and a couple legendary. So for the common ones, you want to do /edit. Now that we're in /edit, I recommend going in order. So first you want to name the item. Now try to be creative. Like for this one, I'm just gonna do just common sword, or trash sword, or just because it's the first sword you get. So I'm gonna do 2 common. Then when you go to lore, you always want to do a blank line first, just nothing in it. Then what you want to do is type the rarity. Now you could do some type of description for the sword itself, like given by the ancient Egyptians, but for this we're just going to write the rarity. So for common, it's green, so and A and L, common weapon. And it looks just like weapons in Skyblock. Now if you go to the second common sword, we're going to edit it and see the same thing. Now first, you just want to do the names on the swords. Like you want to separate the work you do. You're going to do the names, and then you're going to do the rarity. Then after that, you're going to do enchantments, which enchantments don't really do anything, but they kind of add some decor to it to separate what weapons are good, which ones are bad. So go around naming all your swords, and I'll see you back when you're done. So I'm back and I created 6 weapons. I said 3 earlier, but it's fine. So 2 common, a beginner, and a trash. 2 rare, metal, and shiny, and then 2 legendary, sword of power and blue sword. Now they all say their rarity, and they all have colors. These 2 just have gray. Now that we've done that, now we need to do things like add the damage. So as you can see, it says +4 attack damage right down there. Now we sadly in housing cannot remove that whatsoever, but what we can do is add our own damage. So what I'm going to do to this sword is add a new blank line, and we're going to do and9 and L, or just regular and9. And do however much damage it does, like +5 damage to mobs. But for this, I'm gonna do bold. Now you yourself can configure how much damage each one of these swords do, and you can do your own style, but before we do that, we need to go to a sword of our own. Now I highly recommend doing this only in a legendary sword, but you can add a power to it. So for this power sword, we can add, when you right click it, it can do something. So for this, maybe once you right click, it'll give you health. So regeneration for 2 seconds, regeneration 2. And override existing effects for all potion effects. So now when you right click this, when you're running out of health, you just right click it, so it can kind of bring some strategy. But for this we need to click edit lore, and we need to delete this legendary weapon and add a new thing, like this. Like ability health boost. And then right below it, I'm going to do and 7, right click. Then I added the legendary weapon back. So as you can see, they all look really good. Now, we need to add the damage to the rest of the swords. So, different rarities can have different amount of damage. Like the common may have, like, this one do 5 damage, and this one do 6 damage, this one do 7, this one do 8. But never ever make a better rarity do less damage, unless like it has a power or something. So go ahead and configure the damage. You can balance it on your own, but we're about to get started on the crates in just a second. See you back when I'm done. So I'm back, and you should be 2, and you should check off a list. So you should 1 have named all the swords a different name. Number 2, color the names. Number 3, add a rarity, a space under the name. And number 4, write the number of damage amount under it. And in number 5, if you want to, you can add an ability to summon. Now it's time to sneak click on the chest, click replicate, sneak click on it again, click edit contents, and then go and put the swords in there. And separate them by common, rare, and then legendary. And now you can get as much swords as you want since it's replicate. Now that we have the swords, it's finally time to actually make the crates. Now you may think when you right click this, you just add a random action, but we have to add a conditional. And when you have a conditional, you cannot add random actions. Now, Housing does not currently support that. Now it'd be much easier if it did, but what we have to do is we have to make a tunnel over here. Now in your own game, you can figure out your own ways to hide the tunnel, but for the sake of this, I'm just gonna do like it just right here in the open. And I highly recommend making it 5 by 5 in all directions. And then make it like 15 blocks tall. Then once you finish this, you need to make sure it's all black, like not one single place is left not black. That way it's completely dark. Now I'm just using a lighting mod because I have Lunar Client, but if it's black it'll work better. Now 1 block high, you want to make sure this is not anything. 1 block high, you destroy this block, you get a region selector tool, and you left click that part. Then on the opposite corner you go up 3 blocks. Go to this corner and then right click that one for point B. Then you delete those and just make it closed in. And go create a region. Now name this region whatever crate it is, for example, common crate. And then when they enter it, it's gonna do a random action. It's gonna either give item, beginner sword, and allow multiple, or it's gonna give item, trash sword, allow multiple. Then what it's gonna do is teleport player back to the crate. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back over here and record coordinates right by the crate. And then write them in chat. And then Control-C, Control-V, copy them. And then go back to the region. And then on the exit actions, you wanna... Yeah, on the exit actions, you wanna teleport player back. So if we go to the crate, it should work. And we do have another sword. Now if we do it again, it should work again. Now let's say this doesn't work for you. You probably made the mistake of not making the region 1 block higher than the bottom. Because if it isn't, just extend it 1 block from the bottom, that way they exit the region with their feet. And if they don't exit the region, it won't work. Now if it's still not working, you can indeed go to entry actions and add a teleport player right after that. So now that we added that, now we need to go to the middle of this and record more coordinates. So if we go here, go to the very top, sneak a little bit, and now write them in chat. Now if you don't have Lunar Client, just press F3, get the coordinates and write them in chat. Now you want to go to the action button, and we can finally make it. So sneak click it, and we're going to go to conditions, stat requirement, and we're going to do bits. And if bits is greater than or equal to 100, then it's going to TP player to the crate, which we can paste the coordinates that we already did. But as you can see, it does not work. That's because we don't have any bits. And if we don't, we need to go to else actions, send a chat message, and for this chat message we need to say something like, not enough bits. And then also you can play some sound effect using the play sound condition. And it works great. So if you want to do this, you can use the command /edit stats, which we talked about in the mining simulator video. Into your name, and then whatever stat you want, so like bits, increment 1,000. And now if you do it, it works. Now my challenge for you is to do this for every single one of these crates. And once you do it for every single one of these crates, we can finally get into the really good stuff. How to make this killable mob. So, I'll see you when you're done. Now all the crates are completely functional. So, of course the common is. And if I do this, and in this one I don't have enough, so I'm gonna use /edit stats. And it works as well. And I still get the weapons. So we have finally done, so far we've created custom weapons with custom things, and then we've created custom crates over there. Now that we have the weapons, it's finally time to create a custom mob. Now no, if you go here, you search zombie, no, you do not get spawn eggs, because Hypixel sadly disables mobs. They won't even make them like build battle where they're just, all they do is make noises, but that's fine because we have NPCs and conditionals. So if we get an NPC over here, and we place it over here, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this NPC, but I'm gonna make kind of a graveyard. Just a tiny, old, small graveyard. I've created just a simple, basic graveyard. Now this graveyard will be kind of like a beginner thing, just like Mining Simulator. There's gonna be areas, and in this one, it's available to everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and place my NPC. Now NPCs, the first step is to name them. This one, I'm gonna name just simple zombie. Now you could name it like a name like Tom or something, but that's totally optional. Then choose a skin. I'm gonna choose something, you can choose Sea Thunlu, Pumpkin Boss, like there's a lot of different skins you can choose. I'm gonna choose the regular zombie. So we got the skin, but here's how you do it. So you have a conditional, and for the conditions, you first check two things. You check if you have an item. So you have to do this individually for every single sword you have in your game. We're gonna start with the beginner sword. So where to check, click hand. So you should see the sword you're using, and then you should see metadata, hand, and any amount. Then you're gonna check a stat requirement, and you're gonna create like zombie health. You're gonna create a stat. Now depending on what it's named, I'm gonna do zombie health. And then copy that way you don't misspell it. And if it's greater than, so if zombie health is greater than 1. Now I forgot to mention earlier, but on your swords, never ever make them 1 damage. Like even in vanilla Minecraft, it's always 4 as the beginning. Make it at least 3 usually, because you can do things like greater than 1. It makes it a lot easier. So if zombie health is greater than 1, you're gonna go to if actions. In if actions, you're gonna change stat, and then in the stat, you're gonna paste the zombie health stat you did earlier, and you're gonna decrement, and then go to your sword and see how much damage it does. This one does 5, so I'm gonna click 5. Then I'm gonna do a title saying the health, so we're gonna do this health, and then in the subtitle I'm gonna do the health. Now this is gonna be a way to display a stat, so you do %, stat underscore whatever stat you want, then another %, just like that. And then for this, make sure fade out 0, fade in is 0, and in the stay, make it less than 2. I'm just gonna do 1. and then make it play a sound. I'm gonna go to the second to last page and get some zombie. So if we try it, it'll stay at 0. Like if you try it with this, it'll just be like that. It'll start off good, but it won't stay. Because it has no health. So what we gotta do is create another conditional. And we're gonna make sure it still has the same item, beginner sword, in its hand. And if it does, it's also gonna have a stat requirement. If zombie health, or whatever health you have, is less than 1, so less than 1, then it's gonna do a couple things. It's gonna set its health, so it's gonna do zombie health, and then it's gonna set the health to whatever you want. Like, this is just a simple old zombie, so I'm just gonna do 75. Then it's gonna give an item. So for this, I'm just gonna do plain old rotten flesh. Useless rotten flesh. So it's gonna give item rotten flesh and allow multiple. And it's gonna play some death sound. Zombie death. So if you try it, it works just as intended. Now, you've probably seen many types of dungeon simulators. Sometimes you kill something and it gives you bits. For this, what we're gonna do is every single time you kill something, you'll be given some kind of material, like rotten flesh. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna sell this rotten flesh to an NPC. So really, this episode, we're gonna be using a ton of conditionals, so be ready. But now for the zombie, for every single weapon, I want you to do the exact same thing we did, but with every single weapon. So do 2 conditionals per weapon. So I have 6 weapons, that's 12 different conditionals. Making Dungeon Simulator is very time consuming, but in the end it's super worth it. Now for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do every weapon because this is not going to be a public house. But for your public house, you have to do every weapon. And if you make your Dungeon Simulator original, yours may be right here in the #1 top guest. So I'll see you back when you finish adding the weapons. Yep, it's me from the future. I actually completely forgot to add the Bazaar, or somewhere to sell your rotten flesh. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab an NPC, I'm gonna put it somewhere, like I'm just gonna put it right here. But here's a trick, you can actually add a hologram. So what you want to do is get a random block, remove the NPC, 2 blocks high, then add a hologram. Just as so. Then add the NPC, and you have even more area. So in the hologram here, I'm gonna write Bazaar, like and6 bar, Bazaar. Then the name of the NPC, I'm just gonna do sell your items here. So it tells you what you shall sell. So this is actually pretty simple to make. You click actions, you add action, conditional. So if the player has item rotten flesh, make sure it's a stack of 1, and hand. Then it's going to remove it using the remove item. It's going to remove rotten flesh. It's going to play a sound like orb pickup. Then it's going to change that bits by something like 5. Now it's your choice what you can change bits by, but for this I'm going to do 5 per rotten flesh. Now I have to hold it in my hand. Now because I have to hold it in my hand, you can add other items. Like you can add whatever item this drops, which is probably going to be like a sapling, and you can sell everything right here. Another thing I'd like to say is you can add look at players on these. It looks a lot better. And that's all. Right back to the video. So next we're gonna add another area. Now for this, I'm gonna teach you how you can make another area that's only accessible by people. So for this, I'm gonna do a forest. I'm gonna get some spruce wood or dark oak wood, dark oak leaves. Now this is just gonna be some simple old forest. I'm not gonna make the best custom trees in the whole world, but then inside of this very tiny 3-tree forest, I'm gonna get another NPC and place it down. In this one, I'm gonna select this leaf man, and for this one, you're gonna do the exact same thing with 2 conditionals if they have it. But the main point of this is not to do the NPC, since you already know how to do that. What you're gonna do is you're gonna make a region. Now make the region decently far out, like count a couple blocks away, and then get your region selector, select one point, then go up very high for this other part. Basically make sure they can't hit the NPC. Then go to create a region, and whatever this is called, mine's called a forest, create it. And then on the entry actions, we're gonna add if it's a certain rank, if it has so many bits. So that brings us to our last point. We're gonna make rank up NPCs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here and add them. So I'm gonna get my NPC, and I'm gonna name one rank up and one prestige. But for this dungeon simulator, you know what I said earlier about being original? Instead of rank up, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do rank up, but so the rank up. But over here, I'm gonna do level, which is the same thing as being reborn, as some people call it, or being prestige, as other people call it. Now you can choose whatever skin you want for these. I'm just gonna choose random ones. And for the rank up, you'll have to have so many bits, which you'll need a scoreboard. So we're gonna go to the scoreboard, and we're gonna edit it. So now what you wanna do is delete everything you have so far. So then what you want to do is add a blank line, custom line, and name it. Like for example, N2 and L Dungeon Simulator. Then a blank line. Then add a, like this, NB rank. And then you can choose whatever rank you are. So %% stat underscore rank %%. Now this stat rank you have to use on the rank of NPC. So rank 0. Now you want to add an informational line. You could add like how to rank up, how much it is. So for this, for ranking up, it's going to be 150 bits. Then a blank line, a custom line. This time it's going to be level. And then %% stat underscore level. And you want to make the stat as short as possible, so I did LVL, short for level. And in another custom line saying how many rings it is. So it's going to be 120 rings to level up. And then what you want to do is, I'm going to go to the scoreboard and add the bits. So I'm going to add a just custom line, just having N7, basically the divider, and then add a custom line, and it's going to be bits, and then %% stat underscore bits, %%. Whatever currency you used, this is over here. Make sure you use the exact same one for all these action buttons. So now we've created our very own scoreboard. Now it's time for rankup NPCs. So we're going to go to conditionals and stat requirement, bits, if it's greater than or equal to 150. If so, it's going to change stat rank up, or just rank, increment 1. And then make sure to change bits by 150, so bits, decrement 150, and make sure on the condition it's bits. Then what you want to do is place some sort of sound like orb pickup, which I think sounds pretty good, and then do some title or action bar. And then make it like stay on for a couple seconds. But so now if I do this, I can rank up using my bits. But if you don't have enough, go to else actions, do another chat message saying not a high enough rank. So if we go over here, now you can make the level up. So we're going to do conditionals, if rank is greater than or equal to 120, then it's going to decrement rank. It's going to rank decrement by 120. And it's going to increment level by 1. Now for this, remember same exact level or stat that you used on the scoreboard. And then you're going to play a different sound. Like for this one, since you're leveling up, I'm going to play Ender Dragon Growl. Then I'm going to display a title saying level up. Then saying something like congratulations. Which I'm not a high enough rank, so make sure to test and make sure rankup NPC works. Make sure to get the rank 120, then go to the level up NPC and make sure it works. So as you go on, you can make certain sections like this. Then you want to go here, regions, forest, entry actions, conditional, and do stat requirement, rank greater than or equal to whatever rank you want, for example, rank 10. And if so, it's going to do nothing, but else it's going to teleport player. And then I have my coordinates on screen right now, so that's what I'm going to do. -25. So if I try to go in, it won't work, because I'm not high enough rank. And I can't fly in, I can't do anything. So that's basically it. You've learned how to add a custom region where you cannot enter an area. You learned how to make a killable NPC in Hypixel Housing. You learned how to make custom crates. You learned how to make custom swords. We have one thing left. Custom AFK generator. So you want to go to another place and make it 6x6. And make this at least 20 blocks tall. Then make it a full-on square, like a full-on cube. Because if it's not, you want to make sure everything connects. And it's just fully black, or just, it can be glass if you want. It can really be any color. Basically, the way an AFK generator works is, they start at the top and they go all the way to the bottom. And they keep on getting bits or whatever currency you have every time they go. So that's what we're going to be making today, and that's our very, very last thing that we're making. Then you can show off your dungeon simulator to all your friends, and tell me how it went in the comments below. Now these videos do take a while to make, so if you liked it, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Now what you want to do is fill the bottom with whatever color you want. You want to set the whole region 3 blocks high. Actually just 1 block high. You make point A. And you go to the very bottom corner. And make that point B. Very bottom corner, make it point B. And go 2 blocks high and make this one point A. Then make a region, which I'm gonna name it AFK bottom. And then when you enter it, it's gonna TP you right back up to the top. Which I'm gonna get the coordinates. And then just like earlier, put it in chat and copy and paste. So when you enter, it's going to teleport player there. So if you drop, it'll forever enter. And now I highly recommend adding a title or something, that way they know they're AFK. So then you want to add a title saying you are AFK. And it's something like /spawn to exit, because /spawn is a default command. Then what you want to do is increase bits. So entry actions, it's going to display action bar, and then do however many bits. For this, I'm just going to do plus 2 bits. And then after that, it's going to do stat bits increment 2. And also play some sound like word pickup. So now if we do AFK, it works completely. You get 2 bits. You can go back to spawn, of course. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. See you in the next video.